It's the end of an era in Travis County government. Today, County Clerk Dana DeBeauvoir is retiring. We sat down earlier this week to talk about her time in office.
Okay then. Boxes. All of memories. Oh yeah. I'm gonna eat some more boxes.
More boxes to carry away more than 3 decades of service.
I've actually been working for 36 years in the county clerk's office, and I worked for 3.5 years before that in the tax office. So it's been a long time.
So much has changed since 1986.
You're so young.
When Travis County voters first elected a young Dana DeBeauvoir to be their county clerk.
I was recruited to run for the office of county clerk by a group of attorneys and real estate folks and title companies because the office was, missing out on modern management. It was still operating in the quill pen era. There were only typewriters there. There were no computers in the county clerk's office in 1987. I promised when I first took office that we would get rid of the backlogs. Virtually everything that was required to be filed in the county clerk's office back in 1986 and then in part of 1987 was backlogged.
I would imagine that coming in during that time, it was overwhelming to take on such big projects, to take on such important projects.
Well, I remember when I walked into the office that first day, January 1st, I was locked out. The previous county clerk did not like me one little bit. And so I couldn't gain access early at all. And I remember walking in and seeing piles of paperwork everywhere, all kinds of legal documents everywhere. And my first thought was, oh my, I have promised to clean this up, and this is kind of scary.
Lucky shoe horses. When we first got here, we put these over our doors because we needed all the luck we could get.
It took about 1.5 years to clear the backlog. A promise made, a promise kept. But with the good also came battles.
I hope that we can attract that marginal voter.
Especially over elections. Earlier this month, DeBeauvoir called out the Texas Secretary of State and lawmakers for the new Republican-backed elections law.
I think we have some serious concerns about the future of elections and about everybody being able to have equal access to polling places and to their own ballot. I am worried about the restrictions that the legislature has placed on by-mail voting. Elections will continue. And as long as voters vote, which is their job, their responsibility, and their privilege, elections will be fine. I worry about democracy. We've got to stop these attempts to curtail people's right to show up at a polling place and vote.
You were worried about these circumstances. It's a pivotal time for elections in Texas. And that's why I think so many people are saying, well, why, Dana? Why January 28th and not, later in November?
Because my one person is not going to make the difference. And because elections has always been a fight. This fight today is not any different than the fight we had in all the past decades to gain access and to gain franchise for all the different groups who have been enabled over the years. And we will have fights in all the years to come to make sure that everybody gets the same fair chance to vote. This is an ongoing thing. And even though it may seem more acute right now, it's always going to be this way. We're always going to have to fight to protect each other and to make sure that everybody gets a free and fair right to vote.
But this is the first.
As for this soon-to-be former county clerk, the future will hold more work on elections, both here in the U.S. and internationally. But more importantly, for Dana, the future holds someone very special.
My husband died about 3.5 years ago, and I'm fortunate enough to have had someone else come into my life. And I would like to spend some time with him. He was more of the reason than anything else in my life. So I'm fortunate in that regard. I didn't think I would ever find that kind of happiness again.
Liberty Bell Award.
So retirement is not the end, but rather the start of a new chapter after turning the page on 36 years of public service.
When I very first ran for this office, I was very young. I was single, I had a mortgage, and I quit my job and was unemployed for 13 months just to try to be county clerk. And I think what happens is that when you roll the dice and you go after something really big and then you win it and it turns out to be something even better than you thought it was going to be, I don't know that that happens that often in life, but that's what happened to me. What I got was so much better than I ever thought it could be. And I've loved all 36 years. Thank you very much for letting me be your county clerk.
As you might imagine, me and Dana talked for a long time. So you can watch our full interview with her on KVUE's YouTube page.
She's always been nice to us.
Always, yeah.
Always been really nice to us, and I wish her the very best.
For sure,
going
for
forward.
sure.